So I figured that my makeup was not falling apart enough, so I am actively choosing to walk in the rain, hood down like a crackhead. Hey Susan, today we have artificial lighting instead of natural lighting, so my face may look different, but I've tried to kind of like set it up with some reflectors and stuff to just kind of get it equally as bright so I can fix anything in color correction to kind of make it look similar. There's a surprising lack of shadow behind me because reflectors, ooh. Today what we're doing is I'm teaching you guys how to make your makeup last the entire day. I'm going to be trying to doing a couple check-ins throughout the day to kind of show you how my makeup's holding up, what I do to touch it up. I've got like sport today, so it's going to go through quite a bit. So let's get started. So my face has already been cleansed and washed off with lukewarm water. You always want to use lukewarm water when dealing with your face. The temperature that your facial skin can stand is much lower than the temperature that the rest of the skin can stand. So first I'm taking the ordinary marine hyaluronics. It's essentially their hyaluronic acid, but it's a tiny bit less sticky. And it has like algae and stuff in it. And then I'm also taking their actual hyaluronic acid plus B5, which is their normal hyaluronic acid kind of syrup. It's a little bit thicker and stickier. And what I'm doing is I am applying a pump of each just into my hand. This one's kind of running low, so let's get 2 of them, rub them together, and just applying this to my entire face. If you are oily, I'd recommend just picking, honestly, probably the B5 one, as it's like sticky and more oily skin friendly. However, I am quite dry, so I use both. And then just tap that in till that is somewhat sticky. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the B5 directly, I'm going to put it on a finger, and then I'm going to take that under the eye. Just to really plump up the under eye and make it look as decent as possible, despite the fact that we're going to be powdering over it. Because this makeup has to look good in person, because I'm going places in person. Also, you may be able to hear it, I'm not sure if you can, there is wind full on howling outside. It's going to be bucketing down, well it's supposed to be bucketing down rain today, so that's fun. So yeah, my face is going to be going through quite a bit today. Ooh. So now I am just sealing these up, and then I'm taking the CeraVe moisturizing cream for dry to very dry skin. Ooh. I'm just taking a little bit of that just on my finger, just rubbing that together. I'm just kind of applying it to anywhere I feel needs moisture throughout the day, anywhere where it's not really going to be producing too much oil. I'm not going to sweat early on in the day until I exercise, because those areas that will push out and reject it while I'm just walking. I want to wait till I'm like running to sweat properly. So I'm avoiding this kind of area where I tend to sweat when I just walk, and my forehead. I'm using a tiny bit on the nose, a tiny bit right here, and then on the jaw. Just because people who shave have more sensitive and less, I guess, moisturized and more dry areas where they shave. So now what I'm doing is I am taking, this is the Maybelline Fit Me pressed powder in the shade 120 Classic Ivory. It's too light for me, but I sometimes use it in drag. And then what we are doing is we are taking, well, I'm taking a, like, I guess I normally use this for like bronzer in the contour up in here. And I'm just tapping into it, tapping it off. I'm just going to tap it anywhere where I would like normally really sweat through. I like to use a pressed powder for this because I feel like I'm getting less product because I'm just tapping in, tapping off, and then going and stippling. I'm not really building it up anywhere, it's just a really light layer to kind of act first to absorb some of the stuff coming through. Now, we're just going to quickly grab the This is the Fix Plus Rose, the Rose Fix Plus from MAC. And we're going to be taking the Too Faced Hangover Primer. It's essentially just like a kind of moisturizing primer for when your skin is not fun. I'm just applying this anywhere that will want to be moisturized and not pore filled. So under the eyes, I always put stuff there that's more moisturizing as opposed to thin. I can bring that down here just a little bit. I feel like my chin doesn't so much generate oil as it does dry. And then on just the outer perimeter of my face, the bottom half of the outer perimeter of my face. It's the Maybelline, oh no, it's the Maybelline Superstay something oil control. And I just put that right all over my forehead to block anything coming through there. And then I just over the nose. Okay, and then finally we take the, as I jumped the gun to the next pore filler, I like working from lightest weight to thickest weight, and then anywhere that really I know I'm going to produce oils, or if I'm going to put more highlighter there, then I'll also use it there, just to kind of smooth out the skin completely, so that my highlighter just looks like a luminous glow and doesn't emphasize my texture. And I also like to tap it in on any areas I'm going to highlight. And this is really like how you get an in-person, really smooth looking highlight. So now that we've spent way too long on skin, we are just... Okay, so now we've spent way too long on prep, we are just going to take the Maybelline Superstay 24-hour full coverage foundation in the shade 28 Soft Beige. So I'm just applying this, kind of avoiding anywhere that's really close to the eyes. I almost want there to just be like a bubble around the eyes without product. I'm going over my lip with the foundation. This isn't something I do too often, but when I'm wearing a liquid lipstick like I will be today, because my goal is long lasting, I do put foundation over it. And now our eyes are kind of looking red compared to the rest of my face. What we're going to do is we're going to take the Revolution Supersize Conceal and Define in the shade C3. I've normally and only really used CO5 on my channel, but this one's a lot more closer to the shade I should really be using. And I'm just kind of applying it. This is more than I should be using, but like, with how full coverage the base foundation is, I kind of want it to blend in a little bit more with that, just to really hide the demarcation line. And with this technique under the eye, you get a much thinner, much more, I guess, visually appealing layer of product under the eye. It prevents any like real creasing. You crease like a lot less once you like heavily moisturize under it, and then you avoid using foundation and only use concealer. Concealer, and the reason it shouldn't be used as an eye base if you have oily eyelids, I do not, thank God, is hydrating. It's a hydrating product. It's designed to hydrate so it will cling to the skin properly. So you really, it's the most hydrating ingredient, so you kind of want to put that under the eyes and not have any layers kind of like underneath it. Keep going. And now we're just going to set our base. Normally I don't use too much in the ways of powder in my normal makeup, but today is different because I want it to last through sport and rain and everything. So we want it to be bulletproof, even if that means looking a tiny bit cakey. So I'm first going to take just the brush we used before, but this time I'm putting it in a finely milled translucent powder, tapping off a bunch of the excess, and we are just going to place this firstly on like any high points onto the forehead. I use a little bit more on the forehead. And as you'll notice, I'm still avoiding the eye area with this right now because we're going to be doing the eye area quite gently, and the top eyelid we want to stay somewhat not done and tacky. So I'm not sure if my last video is out that I filmed in order, but it's my like mustard kind of eye look thing. I go over what when I'm like just wearing makeup around the day and it doesn't really need to last a really long time, what I do, which I use like barely any powder. Whereas now I'm really like kind of slapping it on. And I feel like this gets too cakey if I do this on this half of the face, but I'm going to be taking a powder puff. I'm going to be putting it into this and the like powder, and then on the forehead I'm just going to be pressing it in. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to take our finger underneath our eye and tap concealer just a tiny bit, and we're going to take a like a small kind of, I use this for highlight normally, we're going to put it into the finely milled powder. We're going to really tap off everything. We're just going to place that under the eye. I'm going to do it one more time. Just enough where it's just set. Bam, still not even, but the curve on this one's more extreme. I'm just going to call it a day on that. Now we are going to do the eyes. The eyes, there's not really any tricks to getting them to last longer other than if you have oily eyelids, wear a fucking eye base. Looks a little bit oily, but oh well, that'll tone down to today. Also, I kind of like how it's like, my skin looks very wet. It doesn't look like it's been highlighted. It looks wet and oily, which is kind of good. Like, I'm not sure if the glow is popping up, but it's really popping up in person. And then setting spray? No, I need to do my eyes. No, you set before yeah, you set before mascara. And this is just to really melt down the powders so they look less powdery. A liquid lip. So I always, I don't use any other lip product when I'm doing liquid lips. It is the Maybelline Superstay 18-hour matte ink. So the look is done. I'm just going to go get ready for life, get like a little touch-up bag together, and then I'll check in with you throughout the day. I'm on my way to my bus. It is raining. My makeup is mostly intact. I also added brow gel off camera because I forgot to add brow gel, but I think it is holding up pretty well. I've already been up for like a whole last hour in this makeup. That's still fine. Anyway, next check-in in however long. So sport off because wet weather and exams in the hall. But makeup is holding up pretty well. There's a little bit of creasing in the makeup, but other than that, holding up pretty well. Probably just going to tap it out, going to set it with the pressed powder, and then I'm just going to use MAC Fix Plus all of my face. My lips are holding up pretty well. I've eaten. I might touch those up just a tiny bit with just like the lipstick blotted on the middle to ombre it out. Everything else holding up pretty well. It's been about 4 hours now. So see you at the next update. Boo. So we are about 5 hours into wearing this. Here's how it's looking. Ooh, different light. Ooh, up close. So I'm looking in like a little mirror. I'm noticing that under my eyes, there's a little bit of product that's gone. I've powdered it not too long ago. To just kind of fill in any gaps. I'll go over how like I was touching up at the end. There's been some transfer between the shimmer shades, but still overall intact. My brows are intact. There are some creases in my forehead, which I've just got to kind of, I've tapped them out, I've sprayed them, I've thinged. They're kind of somewhat stuck. I've reapplied blush and a tiny bit of contour, just to my cheeks to add warmth. My lips kind of falling apart. I've eaten a little bit of greasy food, so I'm gonna do these in a sec. Yeah, so my lips are gonna change soon. But I could probably get away if I wanted to with just wearing my lips like this, but I guess they're like top quality. What else is coming? The foundation's oxidized a bit. Oh! And then also, sorry, there was an excessive amount of noise. I just kind of stopped filming. But in my smile lines, there's quite a little bit. This is really the only place with decent natural lighting. There's under here. Fucking hell. My nose, it's cracking up around my nose. I've kind of powdered everything. I'm gonna go touch up, and at the end of the day, I'll go over how I've been touching things up. So, I figured that my makeup was not falling apart enough, so I am actively choosing to walk in the rain, hood down, like a crackhead. So I'll get back to you when I'm back at place. I'll do a little bit of exercising, you know, to really make sure I sweat since PE was called off. And then I'll be back to final check-in, final touch-up, final everything. Woo! See you in a minute, Susan. Hey, Susan. Final check-in. So this is the makeup after, geez, how long has it been? I put this on at 7 is when I finished doing all the makeup, and then it's now 10:30. 10 hours plus 2 plus 2 plus 1. 13 hours. I've been wearing this makeup for about 13 hours. It's still mostly intact. I'm going to do one final touch-up just to see how wearable I can get it. It's kind of falling apart, but if I get my little compact. So like this is just my touch-up kit. We'll go over how I've been touching up when I just do the final touch-up. And let's kind of look at what's happening. So my lips are off. I've eaten a lot of greasy food. That makes a lot of sense. My under eyes have lost quite a bit of product up in here. Same on that side. My nose crease has rubbed away all the product. Right here is bare. My forehead is creasing. There's some patchiness on my forehead from like contour coming off. But overall it's pretty intact. I'm surprised my brows are intact. I'm very surprised by that. The highlight is actually really coming through. I've really exercised, done everything, eaten. I was in the rain, as you've seen in the last vlog. So now I guess let's just get to touching up. So what I've been doing is I've been taking the Maybelline Fit Me and the little powder puff in it. This is just a shade 120 Classic Ivory. It's lighter than me, but because the makeup is oxidized, I can get away with it. So I put this right here. Just anywhere where I want to fill in product, which kind of sounds nasty, but when you've been wearing it for this long, you really need to just fill in anywhere where stuff is rubbed away. Bam! And now all I'm going to do is I'm not going to touch the eyeshadow or anything. If I did, I might add like tiny bit of brown the outer corner and a highlight under the brow. That's all I do for that. Now I'm going to do lips because I didn't take the eyeshadows with me. I'm not going to eyeshadow lips. I'm just going to move into the nude and keep it a plain nude and then put a gloss over it. Yeah, I reapplied my lip once. Actually, that's a lie. I just put gloss over how it was chapping apart initially, just to kind of hide it and prolong it, which lasted for like several hours. So I'd say before my lips completely came off, I probably had like, I want to say 7 to 8 hours of wear. Not the biggest fan of the shape, but oh well, that's on me. It's quite uneven, but it's plumper, which I guess works with a nude. And now the absolute final thing we do now, we've just kind of smoothed everything out, but it kind of looks a little fake. So I have got like a concealer that perfectly matches my skin tone in there, but oh well, I don't really use it. I just put it in just in case, emergency. But I'm taking the MAC Fix Plus. It's a glycerin-based one, and it kind of melts the makeup, which is what you want, because then it will just freshen and refresh everything. I don't want to do a hard set, because any hard set will stop us from being able to refresh it. I'm going a little bit heavy because it is a reset and not an initial set. And when this is dry, the makeup should once again look wearable. So it's not fully dry, but like as you can see, it's kind of wearable. Ooh, I'm still damp from like everything, but like, ooh. Well, I guess this is it. I'm gonna go take my makeup off, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye, Susan.